profiled this water for gas system last week, but one police department in the upstate has been looking at this for months. Now they're using it. It looks like a regular SUV, but it's not. Misleading because it's an undercover Honeypath police vehicle, and also because it's running on something experimental.
People laugh at you for trying some things, but if you don't try, you don't know.
Honeypath Police Department has just 6 cars and a few officers and doesn't have a big budget for a large gas bill, so they're using water for gas.
Yeah, we've had a few snickers from some people in town that just don't believe it, and naturally I was skeptical of it when the mayor would talk about it.
He's talking about the water for gas system. You build it and attach it to the engine. It then produces hydrogen and oxygen, or what the water for gas people call HHO. It's supposed to give you better gas mileage.
You know, the numbers speak for themselves. 6 to 8 miles per gallon is a pretty good number, pretty good increase. So,
they discussed it for 6 months before trying it out, now planning to put the HHO system on all Honeypath town cars.
I had done research on it, and with the situation like it is, and our fuel costs is so going up so high, that I felt like I had to do something to try to save the taxpayers' money here in our town.
The mayor's even putting it on his personal car.
Works officials continue looking into hydrogen as an answer to cutting fuel costs. Tests started last fall. Rock County reporter Brad Jameson tells us with the new technology, the city has some high hopes for the future. And Brad tells us the boosters not only increase performance, but officials say it also improves emissions. Now, in one truck, hydrocarbon emissions drop to 0 parts per million when the system is up and running.
What we're going to try and do is displace as much fossil fuel as possible.
Since the Lights started looking into hydrogen boosters in November, everything has changed.
The electronics controls were not available at that time, and now, I mean, it's almost unheard of to buy one of these units without full electronic controls.
The new generation of boosters still uses electricity to separate water into hydrogen and oxygen and burn hydrogen for fuel. But the addition of electronic controls and computers means a more...
If you imagine that you have 2 pencils and you sharpen those pencils at both ends, you've now created 2 electrodes. And if you attach the tops of these 2 ends, these sharpened pencils, to a 9-volt battery, and you stuck them in water and added a little salt, like sodium chloride table salt, you would actually see bubbles coming off one electrode and bubbles coming off the other electrode. And you would have oxygen molecules coming off one and hydrogen coming off the other. That's called water splitting, and that's electrolysis. So what's going into the engine is the fuel and an oxygen-hydrogen mixture coming from the electrode.
A little over 300 pieces of equipment currently. When you use the hydrogen fuel cells on these vehicles, hydrocarbon particles per million drop tremendously. So there's a lot less pollution coming out of the exhaust. That's due to a clean combustion and because of the added hydrogen.
We look at the system or this project to be able to help our city financially and environmentally. So if the hydrogen project can help us in those 2 areas, it more than does what we set out to do.
We work for the taxpayers of this community, and that was our goal, is to do something to, help the community, and that's reducing our costs through technology.
It's wonderful. I like to see it on all. So.
Police in Leander say they are saving thousands of dollars in fuel costs after installing a small device that changes the way gasoline burns in their patrol vehicles. A pilot project began about a year and a half ago, and as I found out today, newly released data are so encouraging the department has plans to expand the program.
The need to innovate started with a little budget crisis at Leander PD.
It happened to us a few years ago. We started getting a pinch. We were like getting down to the end of the budget year and starting to run out of gas money.
Today, one solution is tucked under the hood of this police Chevy Tahoe.
We believe, yeah, it's saving us. We've estimated close to about $10,000.
That's significant in a $130,000 fuel budget, money that can be put to other uses like training or new equipment. So what is this metal tube? The fuel ecosystem is a $400 cylinder filled with a copper mesh filter attached to the vehicle's fuel line. It's supposed to agitate the fuel so it combusts more completely. In March of 2012, Leander PD first installed the devices in 6 vehicles. They liked the results so much, soon they put them in more. Right now they're in 14, with plans to install the devices in more this fall. From a miles per gallon perspective, the police department's average fuel economy went from 7.9 mpg to 8.8 mpg. That's more than a 12% average improvement. We first met the man who distributes the devices back in 2005. That's when a KXAN vehicle was outfitted with the fuel ecosystem. In a short city drive, our own testing did show some decrease in carbon monoxide output. Today, he told us Americans can be slow to adapt to change.
Why isn't there a critical mass on this?
I think it has a lot to do with skepticism. Other products that, like you mentioned, does not work. And if one doesn't work, then probably none of them work. And that's what I've come across.
But one local police department, it seems, is a happy customer.
It's whatever we can do to save some money.
Well, the cold winter months are just around the corner, and with heating oil prices nearing $4 a gallon, everybody's looking for a break on their bills.
CBS 3 Springfield's Leslie Tanner shows us how one local school district is saving thousands of dollars.
When students hear the heaters buzzing inside their Palmer classrooms, they probably don't realize how much fuel it takes to keep them comfortable.
This building alone is almost 150,000 square feet. An average sized person's fuel tank with 3 of these boilers running, it'll empty it in about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's why Palmer Public Schools were willing to try a new product, which guarantees significant savings. The Rentar Fuel Catalyst is now a staple in all Palmer schools. The small device does a big job. It makes combustion more efficient by breaking down the fuel, a process that equals almost $100,000 in savings.
We did get a 20% savings annually, taking our fuel consumption in oil from 140,000 gallons to 28,000 gallons off of that.
Though they were one of the first in the area to get a Rentar unit, Palmer will certainly not be the last. In fact, the director of facilities has received dozens of phone calls asking for a recommendation.
We've gotten calls from Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, out on the Cape, literally 100 phone calls from different schools, different businesses looking to install these.
And the calls could keep coming because creators are busy designing a similar unit for homes, but it's already in use in some unusual places.
They're using these on diesel trucks, tractor trailers, bulldozers. It's just the tip of the iceberg with these units.
In Palmer, Leslie Tanner, CBS 3 Springfield.
Taking a major risk, investing thousands of dollars into a system that's supposed to save money on their town's electric bills.
Well, after a year and a half, they've gotten a 400% return on their investment. CW33's Tommy Newell takes you to Kennedale to find out how they're doing it.
Kennedale, Texas, population 7,100. As cities across the nation deal with shrinking budgets, the Tarrant County town actually has some extra money on its hands.
We're always happy when we can take a tax dollar and stretch it much further.
The city invested $8,000 in several units that claim to save money on electricity bills. The units worked.
We've saved about $40,000.
Peak Energy Technology was started by Arlington resident William Wiedemann. Their product recycles electricity.
Who doesn't want to recycle and who doesn't want to save money?
Peak uses the motors and transformers already in your home, like ACs, washing machines, and even video games.
They all need magnetic energy to function.
Wiedemann uses a sample motor in this demonstration.
We are buying from the power company about 7 amps.
Flip on the switch that recycles the energy.
You can see now we're only buying about a little over 2.5 amps. Where did the other current come from? Well, that's from right here. So we're recycling that magnetic energy.
This type of technology is nothing new. Power and electric companies are using it right now. See those 4 vertical boxes on top of that power pole? Well, it's that same kind of technology that's now being put in homes and businesses to help save money. Money that helps Kennedale's budget across the board.
We haven't had to increase our tax rate.
Right now, 5 Kennedale locations have Peaks units, with 2 wells as the biggest money savers. But City Hall, the library, and Senior Citizen Center have also saved a nice chunk of change in the last 18 months.
That money's really rolled back and has helped finance a lot of the street improvements that you see around town today.
And it's not just cities. The same type of unit can be installed in a home. Total cost for a homeowner around $600. Peak says you'll notice a difference in the first month. In Kennedale, Tommy Noel, CW33.
Only on Fox. Frederick County Public Schools are trying to save money, but instead of cutting funds for programs or other educational tools, they are looking at their electricity bill. NBC 25's Nikki Burdine has the story.
When Frederick County school officials decided to cut spending and save money, they did it by cutting energy.
We installed one of our capacitor units that you see right behind there on the school.
PowerSave, a Maryland company, donated the capacitor to Walkersville Flexible Evening High and Adult Education Building. It's been in place for only 2 weeks, but they are already seeing results. The capacitor works by reducing the amount of energy used in the school.
Electricity is not getting any cheaper, and it's not going to get any cheaper.
If the capacitor in this location does meet expectations, Frederick County Public Schools could have one installed in each school, saving lots of money in the future.
I'll be conservative and say if it can save 10%, that's about $650,000 a year that we would save.
They recently installed a data logger that will track how much energy and money they actually save. Money they can put towards more important things.
Towards education and books and teachers and things that where the money should go.
And although they initially just wanted to save money, Dalphon says the added bonus is the green aspect.
What it's going to do is reduce our carbon footprint by 15%, which I think it makes me happy. It'll make everyone in Frederick County school system happy as well, because that is one of our mandates, is to go green.
Reporting in Walkersville, I'm Nikki Burdine, NBC 25 News.